It's Monday, and like yesterday, we may have some morning hailers to deal with. Certainly will by early afternoon. Let's talk about it in this Monday edition of the Texas Weather Roundup. Good morning. It is Monday, the 13th of May, 2024. I'm Texas Storm Chasers Building-in-Chief David Reimer. Like yesterday morning, we're expecting another rowdy round of thunderstorms to impact portions of the state, possibly as soon as mid-morning this morning through the late afternoon hours. Let's just go ahead and start off with the severe weather outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. I'm going to begin this with a caveat, though. The northern extent of this risk is questionable, and I'll explain why here in a minute, but northern half of this risk, yeah, we may not have issues at all today in terms of severe storms, but that is conditional. Regardless, strongest storms today, honestly, could be underway 9 to 10 a.m. in parts of the Edwards Plateau, Hill Country, South Central Texas. Those storms eventually growing upscale into a forward propagating cluster of thunderstorms. That's a very nerdy way of me saying individual storms are going to eventually grow into a cluster. That cluster is going to then move east-southeast towards, well, probably parts of south central Texas, the coastal bend, the coastal plains, southeast Texas, Golden Triangle. Strongest storms today, even this morning, truthfully, the most intense storms, the worst of the worst, could have hail up to the size of softballs. Damaging straight line winds of 60 to 80 miles an hour. A tornado can't be ruled out, but the overall tornado threat does not look especially high today. That being said, in terms of the other severe weather hazards, pretty on the upper echelon of the ouchies potential scale there with, real big hail, real big wind. You put the two together and you get wind-driven hail, and that amplifies the ouchie scale. Yeah, I know, the ouchie scale isn't really a thing, but again, it's a Monday, Building-in-Chief prerogative. That's what I'm going to call it today. Now, let me explain one possible situation that would mitigate the potential for the northward extent of severe weather today. This is the HighRes Rapid Refresh model. In fact, I'm starting this video a little late. It is about 6 a.m. now. This is the 9 Zulu HER run. This is a model that is run every hour. So typically I'll be showing you data from the 6 Zulu run, the 1 a.m. run that goes out 2 days, so I can show you today and tomorrow. This is the 9 Zulu run. This only goes out till this evening, which is plenty of time for this case. This model, even, each subsequent hourly run, has really been trying to indicate a cluster of storms developing the Edwards Plateau, Hill Country, South Central Texas between 9 and 11 this morning. That moves across San Antonio with wind and hail, moves into the coastal plains, the coastal bend, the Victoria Crossroads, southern Brazos Valley, southeast Texas, Golden Triangle this afternoon, moving off the Texas coast by, generally 7 o'clock this evening, or Louisiana. Now, notice as this happens, we really have nothing going on, northern half of the risk zone here. If this is right, this is a situation we've seen. It's usually in the southeastern United States, but it can play out here too, where that cluster of storms right along the Gulf Coast interrupts the southeasterly flow of moisture further inland, and that really reduces the chance for showers and storms farther inland north of this cluster of storms. The atmosphere tends to be more stabilized, especially under cloud cover. So if this is what happens, the northern half of the risk zone that I just showed you from the severe weather graphic, you may not see more isolated showers and storms later this afternoon and tonight. Or if this is wrong, you could see some storms farther north with a risk for some hail and gusty winds. But if this is how today plays out, you can see the highest threat zone for, some wind-driven nasty hail is going to be parts of south central Texas, the Hill Country, southern Brazos Valley, the coastal plains, the coastal bend, pretty much the middle upper Texas coast, Corpus Christi all the way up to Beaumont, including the Houston Metro and southeast Texas, the Golden Triangle. And then again, most of the worst weather is going to be off the coast probably by 6 to 7 this evening. Some data suggests maybe closer to 4 to 5. It depends how quickly these storms get organized, and once they're organized into a cluster, the damaging wind threat increases, but they're also going to start moving off to the east-southeast more quickly too. You can see this thing races into Louisiana by, mid-late afternoon and down to the Gulf of Mexico, leaving pretty nice evening across the state, if I'm being truthful. Yeah, you can see there's a few showers and storms still inland across parts of North Texas, East Texas. There may be some hail with that, and again, it just depends how much this cluster, assuming it moves right along the Gulf Coast, stabilizes areas farther inland. Regardless, we'll keep an eye on it. In terms of thunderstorm chances after this afternoon, should be mostly quiet tonight. Tomorrow looks pretty quiet. And then it looks like as we get into mid to late week, we're going to get more active again. This is just the global forecast system. Western half of Texas, it looks like isolated scattered thunderstorms possible east of the dry line Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening. Thursday, you can see same thing. We get more storms, except this time it may be including more of Texas. And again, we're still talking about a system several days out. There's timing discrepancies on the location of the best storm chances. I'm just showing you this to say, hey, after a relatively quiet Tuesday, knock on wood, outside maybe of an isolated storm in the Concho Valley, we're probably going to have at least thunderstorm chances return Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That's not to say it's going to be a widespread washout or something like this past weekend, but some of the storms may be on the stronger side. We'll deal with that after we get past today. In terms of wildfire danger over the next few days, this is from the Texas A&M Forest Service. Pretty much the western third of Texas, high to very high fire danger ratings at west of the dry line, where temperatures are warm, moisture values are lower, surface fuels are drier, etc. You can see the eastern, 60 to 75% of the state not looking bad right now, and well, that's because it's been pouring rain, or at least it's much more humid. In terms of temperatures over the next few days, well, today highs generally upper 70s to 80s, northern, let's just say northeastern 2/3 of Texas, Edwards Plateau, Rio Grande Plains into the Rio Grande Valley, triple digits, 90s all the way up into the hill country, the Concho Valley, the Permian Basin, 88 in El Paso. As we go into tomorrow, it's warming up, mostly 80s and 90s across the state, still triple digits along the Rio Grande from Del Rio down to Eagle Pass, Laredo, down towards McAllen, upper 80s to upper 90s in the Permian Basin, the Trans-Pecos, 91 in El Paso, lower 80s in the Arklatex, where it will be humid. Wednesday, mostly upper 80s to 90s across the state. Here's Thursday, next round of potentially at least the best chance of rain we see after, this weekend. That'll help knock temperatures back down into the 70s and 80s, northeastern 75% of Texas, thanks to increased cloud cover, probably scattered showers and storms. And then outside of that, it's still in the 90s to triple digits. Rio Grande Valley, deep south Texas, Edwards Plateau, Rio Grande Plains, well, technically Rio Grande Plains up into the Edwards Plateau, into the Big Bend, the Trans-Pecos. As we go into Friday, rain chances look like they diminish at least to a more isolated stature. It gets warmer, and then by the weekend it feels like summer. Highs very near 90 to the 90s to triple digits, and then as we get into Sunday, at this point, northeastern half of the state, it's going to be near 90 degrees. If it's not in the 90s, it's only because the dew point temperatures in the 70s and the humidity is going to be atrocious. Southwestern half of the state, it's either in the 90s or it's in the triple digits. It's going to feel like summer. And that is going to be it for your Monday morning edition of the Texas Weather Roundup. I'm going to go get a nap before the stormies get rambunctious, which at this point may only be like 3 hours, we'll say. But that's what meteorologist Jason Cooley's for. All right, you can keep an eye on the sky with the free Texas Storm Chasers mobile app. Just search for Texas Storm Chasers where you download apps for your device. Your local weather radar, your local weather forecast, your daily Texas weather roundups, and more. Yeah, you can tell I'm real good at the marketing spiel. Clearly, I was meant to be in marketing. No. That's what the three people behind me with mallets are for. They hit me on the head to make me be marketing because it's good. All right, I'm going to go take a nap. We'll chat with y'all later. Please don't go outside and play in the wind-driven hail. I know, it's raining. It's going to storm. Some of y'all like to go play in the rain. Please do not go outside and play in the hail while it's falling from the sky. That tends to hurt you. Trust me. I've been there, done that a couple times on storm chases. Leaves very unpleasant welts and bruises. All right, that's it. It's nap time. We'll talk to y'all later. Have a good one. God bless.